Hey everybody, it's been another month and time is flying. Can you believe it? It's already fall, which is my favorite season, by the way. But this month I have 4 questions from all of you wonderful people, and I'm gonna split it into 2 videos. So this first video you're watching right now, we're gonna have 2 questions, and the next one will have 2 as well. So let's jump into them. The first question says, hey Katie, when is it good to take a break from therapy? Good question. Trauma work or any therapy is hard, so sometimes taking a break is good to recharge so you can get back in and work your butt off. I completely agree. However, sometimes I feel like taking a break is just an avoidance thing. Also good. So I guess my question is, how and when do you know, and what do you do about it? I thought this was a really good question because that is something that we're going to struggle with from time to time. And yes, therapy is really, really hard. Do you remember? Actually, I think I say this all the time, and I'm like, therapy is really hard. It'd be so much easier just to avoid it and not deal with it. And that is the truth. And so when do we take a break? And for me, and these are just my thoughts on it, right? Everybody has their own opinion. Yes, therapy work is hard, but that doesn't mean we should take a break from therapy. That means that maybe we should have one session where we talk really in-depthly and about the difficult, nitty-gritty, shitty stuff about the trauma. We really get into it. And maybe the next session, when we feel maybe more tired or whatever, the next session we go on lighter topics. We maybe take a break from the trauma talk for just a session or 2 until we feel like we're ready to get back into it. Because trauma work, just surprise, surprise, isn't something that we just pound through and just keep fighting and keep working all the time about. It's something that we kind of ebb and flow. We go into it, we maybe take a little bit of a break, we go back into it because our system can get completely overwhelmed. Our nervous system can be on charge all the time. We can feel on edge. It can really make things hard for us and sometimes lead to re-traumatizing us. And so pacing is really important when it comes to trauma work. And if you feel like your therapist is going too fast, I would bring that up. I would talk to him or her about it and make sure that you feel like you're being heard and that they're going at a pace that's comfortable for you. And so the second part of the question is if it's an avoidance thing. And I guess because I don't think we should actually take a break from therapy just because it's difficult, then I would think that if you're wanting to, it's probably an avoidance thing. But the way to check in, so if we're calling taking a break now instead of stopping therapy altogether to having a lighter session, then if we're wanting to have lighter sessions more often than not, and it's actually where our body is not too over emotionally charged or traumatized or triggered by what's going on, that would be when I would call it avoidance. But honestly, that's not something that your therapist is always gonna know. They're gonna have to check in with you, and you're gonna have to honestly check in with yourself. And at the end of the day, it's your treatment, it's your pacing, and you have to be willing and able to work on it at the present time. And so taking it one step at a time is okay, taking a few steps back is okay, but noticing if you're not challenging yourself enough, you're not gonna make the progress you're really wanting, and then you're essentially wasting your time in therapy. And also, I don't wanna forget to mention that we may need to end therapy when we feel like we're doing great and we essentially don't have anything really to talk about. Or we may wanna end therapy when we're just not ready to work on everything and we're just not doing any of the thing our therapist is asking, and we may just stop altogether or look for a higher level of care. So those are all reasons that we may end therapy, and I just wanted to throw that out there as well. Now, the second question was actually asked by someone because they saw it on the website and they wanted to make sure that I addressed it. And the question is, hey Katie, there's a post in the FAQ section of your website that I was hoping to hear a professional answer for. It was about re-victimization, and it seems like many people are in the same, wondering, as I, to sum it up, basically, the first thing someone says when you disclose sexual abuse/assault, including therapists, is to say it's not your fault. But if something has occurred more than once, molestation, abuse as a child, date rape, sexual assault as a teen and adult, it's hard to believe that we're not somehow wearing a sign, that there isn't something wrong with us. I'm really, really, really interested to hear your perspective on this topic, either in a live stream or anytime. Well, you're getting it in this video. Now, to answer this, I don't know if you're really gonna like my answer. And sometimes, that's just the truth, and I can't cater my answers to make sure you like them. But to get into this, re-victimization tends to happen, and it just sounds so icky, and I'm sorry. People who are predators and seek to harm others can tell who is vulnerable. And I know that sounds really sick, because it is. Who looks for people's weaknesses? Predators do. And so if someone is in the habit of being of harming others and being a predator, they tend to notice those who may appear like they're emotionally struggling, who may isolate and feel withdrawn. They'll notice people who maybe are more meek or struggle to speak up. They'll look for certain traits to know that that person is quote unquote weaker and an easier prey for them, and that's why we get targeted. And it totally fucking sucks. I'm not pretending this is okay. I'm not pretending that any of this, I'm not condoning any of this behavior, but that is honestly what I learned through my abnormal psych class and we had criminal psychology, I learned about that. And I think that that is honestly where it comes from. It's not that we're wearing a sign, but through our symptoms of the trauma, in a way we are. And if anything, I guess, to leave you with is the sooner we get help, the better. And if you ever feel uncomfortable in some situations, or you find someone around you just kind of watching how you're acting and just kind of hanging in the fray, because usually they watch for a while, which is so creepy. And I'm sorry that I have to talk about this, but I want you all to be aware. If someone's doing that, make sure you always have someone with you. Don't go anywhere alone. Maybe don't go to that party by yourself. Make sure you always have a partner and keep that person with you. And if someone creeps you out, tell somebody about it. And if you see something on an outside basis, if you're not even involved in the situation, say something. So often situations occur, rape, sexual assault, things in college, and people will say, oh yeah, I saw that, but I didn't know, I didn't want to say anything. Maybe she liked him, maybe he liked her. No, that's not okay. If something seems a little off, speak up about it. Worst case scenario, you made the wrong call and someone's upset for a minute and then they get over it. In a nutshell, that is why I believe revictimization occurs and why some of us feel like it just keeps happening to us. And I'm so sorry that it does, but there are things that we can do. And getting help sooner rather than later is one of those things, so we can be aware of our symptoms, start working on them, and start putting ourselves out there in safe ways again. I want to thank you all so much for your support. I know I say it every month, but in all truth, I couldn't do what I do without each and every one of you. So thank you so much for being part of the Patreon group, for supporting our community, and mostly for supporting me and allowing me to create more videos, because I love what I do and our audience keeps growing and it's just wonderful, and I love the community and I'm just so grateful. I will see you all next month.